Hello, friends. This is Nancy, and I wanted to bring a reading for the new moon in Pisces tomorrow, as well as just kind of cover the upcoming energies. So, I hope that you enjoy the stuff that I talk about here. The very first card I pulled is the Hermit. And so, many of us kind of understand this energy for what it is, which is essentially to kind of go back within, kind of understand ourselves a little bit more, and really kind of withdraw from the external world so that we can really connect and awaken our own kind of inner wisdom. So, to me, this is a card that really just reminds us that it's time to take a little bit of solitude, kind of dive into the mystery of who we are. Look at, answering that deep call that we have. I think a lot of people try to do too much during some of the lunation cycle. And so this new moon to me is really about connecting to our spiritual self, really reconnecting with the parts of what we understand, what we need. And to me, this is a really important cycle. And so, since we're still kind of in the middle of winter, this is a really great reminder to kind of take a step back, relax into the seasons and the lessons that come from the seasons. I know that, as we get closer to spring and as things are starting to warm up a little bit, that many of us want to start pushing and going full steam ahead. But the Hermit is kind of here to remind us, like, hey, we have to kind of go within so that we don't go without overall. And to me, this new moon in Pisces is a really great time for us to really reconnect to how we live consciously. What is it that matters to us? How are we going to live our life as we move forward? How can we really recommit to our favorite spiritual practice, whether that is just, living in gratitude, reconnecting with our intuition, really understanding our dreams, our hopes, our goals as we move through the rest of 2020. So I hope that you kind of take a step back from your day-to-day stuff, maybe even just 5, maybe 10 minutes a day where you can meditate if that's something that you feel called to do, maybe even just writing, drawing, really kind of touching with your dreams a little bit and reconnecting with that deep part of yourself that really wants to kind of come forward and share some of the magic that you have stored within. That's the beauty of the Hermit. It's really about kind of lighting the way back to ourselves, not just in the darkness, but also as we kind of, go on this path and on this journey and really learn to understand ourselves a little bit more. The second card I pulled is this one, and it's really just reminding us that we already know our truth. This is Sapphire. And as a crystal, Sapphire is an interesting kind of energy. I love the colors of it. I think it's very Neptunian. As we can see, there's a lot of like Neptune sort of colors here. And so we know what we need to do. We have to understand we're always in touch with who we are in the middle of the situation. And so this is kind of like a little nudge from our guides, from the universe to kind of get going. And I'm not saying like, oh my God, just kind of rush into everything, but understand, that we know exactly what we need to do. And we have to kind of release the voice of ego in the situation. We have to really understand ourselves more fully. We have to kind of climb out of the chaos that we feel, not just within ourselves, but within our situation. And, understanding that fear is sometimes an impulse that we all possess. And so I know for a lot of people, we have a lot of fears maybe coming up, a lot of things that we're having to face head on. And we have to understand that we're having to kind of sift out the noise, sift out the things that have been distracting us, really look at what has been holding us back from acting upon the things that we really want to do and what's important to us. We have to look at, how wise and insightful and intuitive we already are and give ourselves due credit for it. We have to trust ourselves and know that we have everything that we need in order to make things right and to make things happen. That's the thing with Neptune to me, is that it's not so much just like the expansion of, kind of surrendering and that to me, it's really about touching our dreams and bringing them to form. And so this is a great time to kind of create very clear and actionable things to do so that we have things kind of planned out step by step so that we can really check back at the end of, each day to see how much closer are we to certain goals. What is it that we really want? Utilize the hue here, this blue, to kind of relax into things so that we can really see clearly and trust ourselves more fully. So, what you need to do. So you need to trust your instincts as you move forward. The last card I'm going to talk about is this one. It's grounded. And I love that it has the number 22 on there as well. So have you been feeling a little bit spacey? Are you feeling confused? Are you feeling a little bit, like you can't really focus? To me, this is kind of a reminder like, hey, your energy's a little bit scattered. It's a little bit all over the place, which is perfectly fine. We're in the middle of, Mercury retrograde in Pisces. We have the new moon in Pisces. We have all of these big things kind of going on within ourselves. So it's time to really reconnect with our physical body and its connection to the earth. So if you can, if the weather is willing and able, it's time to spend some time outdoors, create some movement, maybe even eat more root vegetables, meditate, journal, do things that ground you. Look at the things that are grounding you. And I love that it has this little sailor's kind of anchor here, because to me, it's a really fantastic symbol, especially, given that we're here in the middle of like all this Pisces stuff, especially with Pisces season and, the Mercury retrograde in Pisces and now the new moon in Pisces, to kind of, ground us as we're in the middle of this beautiful, watery, big, expansive, emotional time. So really honor yourself as you kind of go through things, as you're kind of going through what it is that matters to you. Lean back into the lessons of the Hermit, which is a good reminder of, finding our truth, listening to ourselves first, kind of withdrawing, but with purpose, not to do it to kind of just block everything out and forget everything else that we have out there in the world, but to really understand that we know what we need to do, know that we have to trust ourselves through this process. I hope that this collective reading makes sense, and I just want to say thank you for supporting me as I try these new things, but I wish you a fantastic rest of your weekend. Please take care. All right, bye.